Ankita Pokharel. In today's video, we're going to read a section on sky burials. Let's begin the class now.
Sky burials. Sky burials are traditional custom in Tibetan Buddhism to say farewell to their dead. These days, outsiders are mostly forbidden from witnessing them. I had heard of Tibetan sky burials with a mixture of horror and fascination. To put it bluntly, a dead body is chopped up into pieces and fed to waiting vultures. So, we arrived at a very isolated and traditional Tibetan Buddhist monastery near Tagong in northeastern Sichuan. I thought, let's just look at the site where it happens. We'd been told that foreigners were not allowed to experience the secret ritual anyway. Our driver directed us up to the top of the mountain where the burials take place. It was surrounded by a sea of Tibetan prayer flags, and you could just make out a kind of stone slab. So we hiked up there. Upon arriving, we could hear Tibetan nuns chanting. How lovely, I thought. Then I turned and saw about 100 vultures sitting on the hill, waiting, and then what looked like a body bag on the stone slab. I actually couldn't believe it. Have we stumbled into the start of a sky burial? Through a translation app, I asked one of the Tibetans next to me what was happening. Flesh-eating birds, he replied. Oh, can we stay? I asked. Yes, but on the side and no photos, he replied. This is amazing, I thought. But then I saw my kids. My wife and I had to make quick decisions. We gave our 6-year-old son the iPad to play computer games. He was thrilled, and we had never before been so happy to give it to him. He was too young to see this. As for my 11-year-old son and my 13-year-old daughter, my wife Catherine quickly sat them down and told them what was about to happen and said it was their choice to stay or go. We gave it to them straight but told them the cultural and religious context. To their credit, they stayed. I was nervous. The first time I had seen a dead body when I was 12, and it had a profound effect on me. Before we knew it, the bag was taken off and the corpse was revealed. It looked like a middle-aged woman. The Rogyapa body breaker stormed up the side of mountain. He was dressed in a thick, dark scarlet-colored coat with a black hood. With a butcher knife in hand, he wasted no time in carving up the body. My stomach sunk. It was gruesome, and I just stopped myself from throwing up. My kids, though, seemed to take it in their stride. The vultures were growing impatient and started to jump at sight of the flesh. The body breaker gave the signal, and the Tibetans holding the birds back let them through. They swarmed in a frenzy, jumping on top of each other, tearing at the flesh. It was unbelievable. It only took at most 15 minutes and the entire corpse was gone. Every last piece of flesh had been eaten, leaving only the bones behind. Then the body breaker gathered up the human bones and began to pulverize them with a mallet. He mixed that with yak butter and beer and barley flour. In one last gesture, he walked into the middle of the vultures and threw it high in the air, and with that he was gone. There was absolutely nothing left of the body. It is considered a bad omen if vultures don't eat the body, or even if small bits are left. Tibetans see the vultures as dakinis, like angels who take soul into the heavens to wait reincarnation and the next life. They consider the body as a mere vessel for the soul. And at the end of it all, a peace and calmness seemed to descend over the scene. Everyone seemed happy that the ritual had been fulfilled. My kids, too, surprisingly, were fine. They seemed to be able to understand it, an ancient culture giving a meaning to lives. I was a proud dad on that day, proud of their maturity and intelligence. But as for my 6-year-old son, he was none the wiser. He'd been deeply engrossed by his iPad playing Minecraft the whole time. Written by Matthew Carney. So we just read an excerpt about a family witnessing a sky burial in Tibet, and this piece of article focuses on a few key points. Let's discuss them. The first thing it describes is the sky burial practice. It describes the Tibetan Buddhist practice of sky burial, where a deceased body is cut up and left for vultures to eat them up. It emphasizes that these rituals are typically not witnessed by outsiders. So the next thing the text carries on is the mentioning about author's curiosity and hesitation. So the author expresses a mix of horror and fascination with the practice, of course. Initially, the plan was just to see the site from a distance. The text carries on and brings us with some unexpected witnessing. Here, the family stumbles upon an actual sky burial in progress while visiting a remote monastery near Tagong, Sichuan. So, while they had an opportunity to witness the sky burial, the parents also face a dilemma about whether to allow their children to witness the ritual. They decide to be honest with their older children, who were 11 and 13 years old, and give them a choice, while they also decided to shield their youngest child from the scene, who was 6 years old. What was the children's reaction? The older children chose to stay and observe, and then they wanted to take the event in stride. The text further takes us to author's personal reflection. He gives his own impactful experience of seeing a dead body at a young age, and he also highlights the potential emotional weight of such an event. The excerpts provide a graphic description. It provides the description of the ritual, including the rogyupa about the body breaker, cutting up the corpse, which causes the author some distress as well. So, in essence, the excerpt is a personal account of witnessing a culturally unique and somewhat shocking ritual, focusing on a family's experience and ethical considerations involved in exposing children to such an event. It also touches on the author's own emotional response and reflection of the experience. The text gives the detailed description of the sky burial. Here it gives a description from the gathering of the vultures to the pulverizing of the bones and also the final offering. The author also explains about the efficiency and finality of the process. He writes the speed and thoroughness was really smooth with which the vultures consume the body, and he also highlights the finality of the ritual. The text explains the Tibetan Buddhist belief behind the practice and highlights that the vultures are seen as dakinis or as angels who carry the soul to heaven for reincarnation. The body is viewed as a mere vessel, so there is a cultural significance made in this belief. Talking about the omens and completion, the importance of the vultures consuming the entire body is highlighted, as any remaining parts are considered as bad omen. The successful completion of the ritual also brings a sense of peace and fulfillment to those who are present there. Towards the end of the text, the author highlights his pride and mature reaction about his children's understanding, who seem to grasp the cultural significance of the event. He does so because he finds them absolutely okay observing such horrifying process of burial. There's also a small idea of clash mentioned between the modernity and tradition, where in text the contrast between the ancient ritual and the youngest child's immersion in a modern video game, Minecraft, underscores the clash of cultures and generation as well. So lastly, the personal impact or the perspective that the author has gained through the process has been mentioned. The author's perspective is central, sharing his initial apprehension, eventual understanding, and also the pride he takes in his children's response. So students, after having a detailed description and discussion about what the text is trying to reveal to us, here are two questions on your screen and you have to answer them on your own. Use your own perception, use your own understanding to answer these questions. How did your class go today? If you have any suggestions or feedback, feel free to reach out to us through learning@dearwalk.edu.np. See you in the next class with another lesson. Thank you.